Any references we make to Jim Davidson fall under the term parody. Parody. These are not the opinions of Fuzzy Dice. This is just parody. Try not to take any of these things seriously. Woke Asian Guy!
And Egg White.
So this is our Jim Davidson special. So back in the early 80s, when I was, 15, I used to watch Jim Davidson's show on TV, and it was offensive before I found out what offensive was.
Yeah.
When he was making all those racial slurs and just making stereotypical comments about people, I was going, ha, 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 ha. I'd look at my parents, then I'd look at myself, then I'd just go, ha, 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 ha. And he did that snooker program.
Is that the show that you're talking about? Big Break?
In the early 80s. Yeah, no, before Big Break, when he had his comedy shows where he's wearing flares and he actually looked surprisingly young.
Okay.
Then he joined in the racist bandwagon, didn't he? Because all the other comics on the Comedians TV series, like Bernard Manning and even I've forgotten his name. So I'm just going to put a voiceover of that black comic.
I do believe you are referring to that much-loved comic, Charlie Williams. In fact, here's a brief excerpt from Wikipedia.
His reinforcement of his audience's prejudices and negative race stereotypes was perhaps a necessary product of the environment and time in which his career began.
Fact attack.
In the 70s, he used to do like jokes that offended black people. When you look at it now.
Roy Joey Brown, you mean?
No. But he's gone back to the 70s, right? In a nutshell, started off like doing racial comics because that was the political landscape before Adrian Edmondson and all these came along and just went, oh no, we're the alternative comedy. We do upside down jokes and all that. Then, as you pointed out earlier on, he did Big Break, which, I don't know, being a tea time BBC family friendly program, you can't really do his darky jokes, can he? Or his like Nick jokes and all those other bits. So you have to tone it down.
Just to interrupt there. So I am significantly younger than you. To rub that in. No, I'm not.
Please rub it in.
I'm not significantly younger, but I am younger than you, and so I don't remember this stuff in the 80s. I remember Big Break in the 90s and thinking it was great, right? And with John Virgo's trick shots, Jim Davidson being, like tea time, family friendly, acceptable kind of humour, thinking this is amazing. And from that, I remember one of my friends at the time in primary school had a brother who was like, let's say 15 or 18, who had the DVD of Jim Davidson's live show.
Yes.
And so we watched that when we really shouldn't. And within the first opening 2 minutes, we were, I remember just sat there open mouthed, kind of thinking, oh, this isn't what we thought it was going to be.
Describe what the jokes were. You can't just say this what it was. What it. Let me put you in an uncomfortable spot. It's probably all racial slurry kind of like.
There was a lot of that, yeah. But also,
go on, give me one joke. Go on, one joke.
I don't remember any of the joke because it was obviously a long time ago. Not that long because I'm only 26, but it was a long enough time ago that I can't really remember that.
You're too scared to come up with some of the jokes. That's why.
No. But also, he came out, and not only was it kind of quite far towards it was every kind of ist you could think of. So it was sexist, fascist, racist,
sexist.
Yeah, I've said that one. Yeah, exactly. It's all that. Also, the language, which I love a swear, right? I love a swear as much as the next man, but he kind of came out and was just so kind of crude with this swearing that he couldn't go anywhere else after this 2 minutes. It was basically, you'd seen, there was no build up. It was basically like, come out, say the most offensive thing that you can for a reaction, as well as using kind of like quite coarse language. And then after that point, it was nowhere else to go.
I've got two analogies for that.
And this was like a 90 minute show, and it's kind of, but you basically, it wasn't like a roller coaster. It wasn't didn't feel like some kind of quite well crafted sort of sitcom stand-up show that kind of takes you on a journey, and then right at the end there's kind of callbacks or stuff like that. It's basically he came out, he ranted, and he said the most kind of basically the comments to the most which were going to evoke the most reaction and response in the first 2 minutes, and then he carried on doing that for the entire show. But after 2 minutes, you kind of think, well, there's nowhere else to go with this, is there? Why continue watching?
He set the bar. I mean, I've got two analogies on that. So one, he was basically a racist horse storming out the gates, and as soon as he got to 100 yards, he was like tired it out with the rider kicking his bollocks, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And my other analogy was his comedy show was like the opening of Saving Private Ryan. So you remember the whole 18-minute opening battle sequence, which was so like, whoa, right in your face. After that, you couldn't really get into the film after that.
Yeah.
So basically, I've compared Jim Davidson to World War II and a horse.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
See, there's no coming back from you on this one as well. Because where did you go with this?
So,
Did you watch the entire comedy show? I mean, you said you set the bar of what the whole show's can be after 2 minutes, but you watched the rest, right?
do you know what? That's a good question because I can't really remember.
That's a big yes.
I'm sure I did. Because I was a big fan of him doing his big break stuff, but I can't remember the rest of it. I just remember thinking, well, this isn't what I wanted it to be. But I thought I probably just had some a bottle of Coke, a bottle of pop, and some biscuits, and so just continued to watch it.
You didn't watch it with alcohol. 99.9% of his viewership are gonna drink alcohol while watching his comedy show because that's the whole point.
But Woke Asian Guy, I was about 8 years old at the time. I was too young to be watching it but it was like one of my primary school friends' brothers who had the VHS tape.
I'm surprised you didn't join the BNP after watching that. No, I commend you on that. That's good. You still kept on the right path of life. That's good.
If he was on the show now, and let's be honest, he's never going to be on the show because we're never going to get any guests. It's just going to be me and you chatting.
Oh, Egg White.
Yeah.
He went on Ashley Banjo's show to talk about racism, and he walked off after 5 minutes. Do you really think, even if he he's bored one afternoon, he's going to come on our show? He'll just come on our show and goes, "Oh, you're just having a go at me. I'm going to walk out the wrong door." No, Jim, it's the other door that's the exit. That's to the broom cupboard.
So if he was on the show, what would you say to him?
I'm going to put this to a high level, right? Because my first instinct is going, "Why are you racist?" But I have to claw that back because obviously I don't want to scare people. You don't go up to a squirrel with some nuts and goes, "Why are you a squirrel?" I'll scare him away. So my intelligent question would be, Jim, I want you to pretend to be Jim, right? Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim. Yeah.
Yes, Woke Asian Guy.
Oh, thank you, Jim, for recognizing me for my true worth. So your career trajectory, Jim, is you started off in the comedy club circuit, middle of England, doing racially charged jokes. Then you went to family-friendly sitcoms, family-friendly game shows, and you did snooker, which everybody loves. And once you found out what the internet was, then you found out what a YouTube channel was. I'm sure someone told you. Jim, are you still with me? Good.
I'm still here. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, that was a rhetorical question because
Cuddly Toy.
Cuddly. No, that's Generation Game.
He did the Generation Game.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh god.
Brucey stepped away from the Generation Game. They got Davidson.
Oh wow. Hey, thanks for reminding me, Jim. So you did all these family-friendly shows. Then, okay, he's a serial bankrupt, which obviously I'm not going to make fun of because that's an entirely non-funny kind of thing. So then you went to Dubai as a tax exile. You actually admitted on the TV show, James O'Brien's TV show, Jim, that you actually read the Quran. And now with your YouTube channel, you've gone full circle. You've gone back to what you were doing in the 70s. Most people sort of adapt with the times. And Roy Chubby Brown has, to a certain degree, adapted with the times. But you've just gone back to be a broken down racist old man. Jim, you got any thoughts on that?
Shall I be him? I'll be him.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you have to answer it, Jim, because Jim's not here.
So you're saying that I haven't. You've just listed how I've been like a chameleon and changed and done all these different hosts of kind of successes and highs and lows of my career. Thank you for listing all of them. And now, why is my current YouTube and website any different to what I've done in the past? I'm getting quite a big audience and quite a lot of viewers. If you just check the YouTube channel, there are quite a number of subscribers. Surely it's giving the people what they want again.
But you're pandering to bigotry. You're better than that, Jim. You want to bring cheeky seaside humor. Jim Davidson is just falling towards the far right leanings because that's where his audience is, and he's trying to grapple with that, like Morrissey. That's all he's doing. I mean, his stuff. You know what? Half of his fucking jokes. Egg White. Half of his jokes are literally bitterness towards mainstream TV. So I have watched quite a few of his videos, and he's always going on about, the champagne socialists. I'll never be on TV. I'll never be this. I've got my YouTube channel, and I can say what I like, which he technically can. But Roy Chubby Brown can still, technically, if he watered his stuff down, can still go back on TV and do his shit on TV. They'll have to edit it like we edit this podcast down, but he's still veering towards the cheeky chappy. He's going down the same road of cancelled as Katie Hopkins. Do you want that, Jim?
So can we just go off on a little tangent, right? On just a little side and a side.
Yeah, go on the side tangent.
Morrissey.
Yes.
Morrissey. So
Yes, and I'm going to get flustered when talking about him as well.
But Morrissey has got a residency in fucking Vegas.
This man is like talking about socialism and waving flowers while singing and wearing NHS glasses.
For however many years, throughout after the Smiths obviously split, when he was touring by himself, he would notoriously and famously not play any of the Smiths hits, right?
So what did he play? Is what, like Vauxhall and I? You play all that shit?
He would play Morrissey.
So before you carry on, you got all these Americans just going to Las Vegas to fucking drink a shit ton, gamble, then go to see some chintzy lounge act. And one of those lounge acts is not Tom Jones this time, it's Morrissey. Why?
But yes, it is Morrissey. And guess what he's doing? He's doing his hits. He's gone so far left that he's now actually gone full circle, and surely he's like, right, Davidson, far right, he's come back round, and what he's actually saying is it actually kind of left-wing comedy if he was to say that he was saying it in an ironic way.
Okay, if you're saying it in an ironic way, then he's actually evolved, but he hasn't.
A bit like Gervais. Why is saying the horrible things at all? Why is that acceptable?
Well, I mean, it's not okay. It's a good point. So he sits on his sofa, staring at what probably looks like an iPhone camera, and he just doesn't do a knowing wink. He doesn't actually do one-liners or jokes. He just does venting, frothing, old people shit.
But is that not his character? Is that not a character he's playing?
No. I've watched his videos. That's not his character. Ricky Gervais will play a character, and when you speak to him in a pub, he won't be the person he's on stage where he's just pushing a boundary slightly. He's just an angry old man going, "This is it. I've just got a YouTube channel," which has got a lot of viewers and subscribers, admittedly, but he's got a YouTube channel, which is the only outlet that he can actually do to spew his kind of I'm angry. It's not doing any of the comedy he was doing in the 70s, which is why he's come full circle, but he's laced his full circleness with his this is the things that are pissing me off. But he's not doing it in a comedy. I don't laugh at his YouTube channel, at anything he says. I sort of laugh at him, at the fact that he's broadcasting to someone going, "I hate this. Is anyone with me with this thing I hate?" And most of the people are well, probably, certain factions are probably still too scared to go out and just going, "Yeah, I can't believe some people actually that agree with Jim Davidson goes, yes, I hate that too."
Okay,
that's Ashley Banjo. He wouldn't let me talk.
But if he was to do change the format, if he was to do his show, but there was an audience, right, and people were engaging and laughing at him, then obviously, so that would you'd see them people he's not the only man in the room talking, because people would laugh at him, because he's got a lot of subscribers. He's got a lot of people paying however much it is a month to subscribe to his
that
website.
Ustream.
Right?
If you know what,
Yes.
if he had an audience and doing the jokes, that might make a difference, because he might just actually put some effort in those jokes rather than just venting. And to be honest, the last few videos I watch, all he's doing is just going through scraps of paper on his table because he's got subject matters that he wants to talk about and get off his chest. And none of it's got like one-liners. It's just, I'm angry about this. Where's the joke, Jim? Oh, sorry, you're angry. Oh, right. There's no punchline to anger. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't say this, Egg White, but I've watched some of the Katie Hopkins videos, and even though she's extreme and I don't like her that much, she does have a punchline at the end of her gags. I don't laugh, but they are sometimes quite funny in a very dark, bleakly kind of thing. I don't relate to it, but she has more comedy chops at the moment than Jim.
What if he says, well, it's not, because not all comedy has to have a punchline. What if it's far too nuanced for even intellectuals like yourself to not really kind of engage with and see? Yeah. Because are you not just kind of falling into what you're criticizing him for is just kind of basically just saying what you see? Are you not having a go at him for basically saying for what you are criticizing him for saying? He's just basically, you just think he's just saying exactly what he sees, and you're criticizing him for saying what he sees. What if he was to say, actually, he's far too nuanced and it's subtle?
Do you actually watch any of his Ustream videos or any of the videos on YouTube and go, that was quite nuanced? I like that. He's like a drowning racist. He's in the water, he's drowning, then he starts like saying, well, I can't talk about this. I'm going to talk about, I don't know, women and like scantily clad things and like anything that'd be offensive before he goes underwater. Just like Robert Shaw in Jaws.
Let's get on Radio 4. Right. Let's get Radio 4 about this. So
okay.
You see stand-up comedy as an art form, right? You appreciate it as an art form. Now, what is the main point of art to you? Now, obviously you're not going to answer this because you're going to answer some Generation Z kind of woke waffle, which is just going to be complete nonsense and like trying not to offend anyone. Oh, I don't want to offend anyone, but actually you can't please everyone. So whatever you say is going to basically, not everyone's going to like what you say. So someone is going to be offended by anything, even if you try to be the nicest person ever. What I see art is, and stand-up comedy is obviously my favourite form of art. Art is holding a mirror up to society. So whether it's a painting, whether it's a modern art, if you might not be a big fan of modern art, you might know, like say, what's her name, the woman who just did the Unmade Bed.
Oh, Tracy Emin.
Right. A lot of people.
What's she done?
No, I'm just bringing a lot of people when they say, oh, that's not art. Of course it's art, right? Of course it is, and we can go into that on a completely different podcast. But so what art is doing is or good art is doing is holding a mirror up to society, right?
Yeah. So what Jim Davidson is doing
and commenting on it. Yeah.
But what you're saying is Jim Davidson is holding up a mirror to society.
Is he?
Of course not. He's seeing it from his own prism of like, I've seen it from my point of view. I'm angry. This is me. Look at me. I'm going to say this. Other comics can hold up a mirror, and they're very good at holding up the mirror.
Who? Give me a.
Who? What are you, an owl?
Give me someone who's doing it well at the moment.
Well, no, we have to go back to Ricky Gervais. He has to go back to him. He's now got his own Hollywood star or Walk of Fame for just talking about edgy stuff and just basically slagging off everyone at the Emmys or the Grammys. What is it? The Jimmys? Something? Whatever it was. He does that. He does that. He holds a mirror. And he even made a joke about some African child, and he was doing the accent for it, but he drew such a fine line. He's holding up a mirror to people and they're just in the audience going, "Is it funny?
And
I
then-
don't know. Should I laugh or not?" That's the thing.
So you're holding up a mirror to society, but also you're commenting, and quite often it's just leaving something up to people's interpretation. And as soon as you do that, because as soon as you do that, because obviously it's subjective, isn't it? Like there's no right or wrong. That's part of the amazing thing to do with art or do with music. You know, not everyone's going to like the same thing. Not everyone sees things in the same way. People interpret things in a whole matter of different ways. That's what makes the human race. That is the one thing that humans are brilliant. That is brilliant about humans, right? So people are going to interpret things differently in a different way.
Yeah,
and because again, right, we can talk all kind of like nuance and highbrow about this, but when we come back to it, we humans are pretty basic, and we are pack animals.
Oh, you know, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you'll get one demographic when you see Roy Chubby Brown, who really think about it. He's actually fat shaming himself before fat shaming became fat shaming, right? Isn't he? He's calling himself chubby. But another thing, I actually held a mirror to society in my own little way. Ask me why.
Workation guy, how did you hold a mirror up to society?
Oh, well, glad you asked. So one of those things, you know, I like to just basically make people uncomfortable. So there's quite a few things I've done in my time. And one of them was I was at the fairground. It happened. I was at the fairground. I went up to the booth to get one of those like tickets. And the lady looked at me and goes, "Token?" And I looked at her and went, "Yes, I am." Now, the reply on her face, the look on her face was, she started laughing, then she stopped laughing. Then she started laughing, then she stopped laughing. That's me holding a mirror to her because she's looking at me, right? A brown guy, and just thinking, wait a sec, should I laugh? Should I not laugh? And you can literally see, like, should I not? And I'm giving her those two emotions just by putting her in an uncomfortable spot. And I worked in a building. This is my other one, right? Holding a mirror to people, or whether I'm not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But and you probably remember this.
This is the first time that I ever met you. I think it's probably this next story.
Oh God, you tell that story. Go on. I'll tell you, and I'll tell you the other thing I used to do around the building to people that really made them half laugh and half concerned.
The first time that I ever met you was when you in an open plan office of a very prestiged company, which obviously we won't mention because we might get sued, but very prestigious company. You know, you had to draw, if you let's say you know, quite a bourgeois or bougie as they say nowadays.
Yeah, bougie.
Yeah, quite a bourgeois. You were just having banter with another young Indian guy.
Yeah. And
kind of there's a mock argument took place. People were kind of like peering over their monitors because it's like, hang on, what's going on? People are actually talking in an open plan office. This is a bit weird. Oh my god, it's two non-white people talking, and then you drop the line, let's go and have some brown on brown action.
All I can say to you, Egg White, is that actually happened. Yes.
And in the next 30 seconds, because immediately you could hear the entire surrounding desks, people go, and basically you two, because you knew exactly what you were doing, just pissed yourself laughing, because it was that reaction of like, we know we can't say this, but we can say this. If you said this, it would be totally unacceptable, which is correct. But it's like you're kind of playing on that kind of expectation, which is basically your trademark. That's like your trademark.
I sometimes fly too close to the sun, and someday I'm going to get my wings clipped. So the other thing I did when I walked around this blue chip prestige company was I had to go into a room to help someone because I was working in technical support. And the guy just asked me, "Hey, so what's your name?" And I went, "Hey, my name's Brown Guy." And the guy, he was the poshest white guy you'll ever meet. He looked at me and goes, "I can't call you that." He goes, "Well, you can't call me the brown guy." This conversation genuinely happened. The guy just looked at me and goes, I can't call you the brown guy. He goes, no. I'm not. Well, it'd be bad. It'll be offensive if you call me the brown guy. But you have to do it with an accent. You have to call me the brown guy. And there was one. Now most people would get hauled up to HR for this one, but there was this lady in the office. True story. And every time she saw me, I swear to God, this is true. Every time she saw me, she'd just shout out, "Taxi! Taxi!" And knowing me, I like a good edgy comedy kind of like moment. And I kept pissing myself laughing because she said this loud across the room. But it's just like, now to go back to it, those kind of edgy kind of like holding a mirror to people. Because the brown guy, the guy just didn't know what to laugh, whether to laugh or not. But he was sort of smirking a little bit and obviously I did it with the mannerisms and all that, so I knew wasn't being threatening. So you can do comedy in that way, and it's obvious because I got a laugh out of these people. He's like, even Piers Morgan is funnier than Jim Davidson. At least Piers Morgan has some biting, acidic, satirical. Did you ever see that? Did you ever read about when he went one-on-one with, who's that Scottish comic? I've forgotten his name. I found it, Frankie Boyle. I got that from my memory. I didn't have to Google it because my brain's shot. Right. There was one point where Frankie Boyle just basically started having a go at Piers Morgan on Twitter. And Piers Morgan tore him a new bumhole to a point that I think Frankie Boyle went from his living room where his computer was into the dining room with holding both his assholes. Now, I love Frankie Boyle, so this is not anything against Frankie Boyle. But Piers Morgan, he just rinsed him. And it was just basically snappy one-liners on Twitter coming back at him. And this is what I love. It's like the guys that stabbed Caesar in the back. Piers Morgan was atting all these other people, goes, "Oh, you might need all these other comics," saying, "Oh, yeah, I think you might need to help Frankie Boyle out. He's sort of like failing here and all that." And it's that kind of thing. Basically, what's the point? I don't like Piers Morgan, but I appreciate his acidic tone, which is what I don't get with Jim.
Who's that at the front door? It's bigoted Uncle Jim. Hi, Uncle Jim.
We have a television pitch. So the pitch is, this is how the discussion has probably transpired in my mind, is, you remember that sitcom that Rick Mail played the dad on Channel 4? We talked about it a while ago.
What, Greg Davis's?
Yeah, Greg Davis's thing. We can do our own version where Jim Davidson is my racist uncle. And he's gone bankrupt again, and he's had to live with me in my suburban house in the gentrified part of London, and we have an uncomfortable relationship. So I'm in my living room having my samosas and my keema, and he's up in the loft on YouTube ranting about how much the curry smells in his house and how his nephew is too brown. And I have to say, "Uncle, can you stop that? My kids are getting scared. They're understanding what the word racism means." Then he comes down and starts crying about how he didn't really mean it and he's not really racist. And that's episode 1. So you know what? I'm going to write this up as a pitch and I'm going to submit it to Channel 5 because they love that kind of edgy comedy.
To be honest, on a serious note, and you can cut this out if you want, because we don't really do serious that often. That's probably the best idea you've ever had.
You said that before. The last idea I had.
No,
do you know the program will be before that?
No, I've never said that about one of your ideas.
I'm too lazy to go for all of the audio footage, but you've said that before.
But I mean, a lot of your ideas are shit, and I'm just humouring you. But that is actually a genuinely good idea.
Well, I mean,
and you can quote me on this one. You can quote me on this one because that is a genuinely good idea. Because if you think, I think people would go for that. 1, it appeals to your followers, the wokies amongst us, right? 2, and the people sat in the middle who kind of can see it from, well, I'm not really lefty, I'm not really right, but I'll go middle of the road. And also it appeals to the writers as well, doesn't it? It ticks all boxes. This is number 1 idea. I think we need to. What can we call it?
You know how Rick Mail got a new audience
now we have a mission
with Greg Davis's show?
Yeah.
We could do that with Jim. we can actually bring him to a new audience. And to answer that question earlier on, we can basically write stuff for him, and he can now have a knowing wink at the audience because it's all scripted. He can just wink at the audience, goes, "Yep, I'm racist."
So now, right, the rest of the podcast, right, so from this point, our quest in life, and if we don't get anywhere near this, we have failed as humans, regardless of what our personal circumstances are. If we don't make this, right, or get this made, we are failures. Plain and simple, because this is the best idea you ever had, right? And you're not gonna fly this high again.
Wait a sec, are you sure? Because the other idea I had to pitch to Channel 5 was Chris Packham nature series called Tits, Tits, Tits.
Oh, say that again slowly.
Chris Packham series called Tits, Tits, Tits.
Okay, and which is what?
It's just about birds. It's about, maybe it's actually like flying animals, basically.
So, but what is it focusing on the bird tits? Yeah. Basically, no other birds. It's just focusing on tits.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah. It's like what's that BBC nature program, but more edgier.
Crime Watch.
It's edgier than Crime Watch. Yes.
The Good Life.
So, The Good Life. Hey, I know. Hey, should we call the show "Question of Racism"? There you go.
No, because that's too in your face. I think you need something slightly. It basically implies it, but also it's kind of socially acceptable, so you can have it on your t-shirt. You got to think merch, mate. We're in the YouTube world. We've got to think merchandise.
Well, okay. What better merchandise can you have with my brown face and Jim Davidson right next to him, doing a thumbs up behind me?
I've got it. So basically, your racist uncle is living in your house, in your attic, right? In happy days, was a middle-aged man, was he not living in a garage above the house or next to the house of a suburban family, right?
Yeah.
Which, all right, Fonzie, surely, question should have been asked at that point, right? Because it's a little bit creepy. It's a little bit creepy looking at that, isn't it? It's like, hey, I'm just hanging out with you. But Fonzie, you're 35.
So are you saying that basically Jim Davidson could be the racist Fonzie?
So
the thing is, you can
so why don't we call it Wokey Days?
Wokey Days. I like it. We'll have to pitch that. Okay, I'm going to write the pitch up, send it to Channel 5 tomorrow. And the fact that you got loads of things to play with. So I could be going out into my garden, right?
So,
and there's a whole washing line full of Union Jack underwear. That would be amazing. I'm like, oh, Uncle, stop it. This one's got skid marks on it.
And he listens to his favourite song is Chelsea Dagger by the Fratellis.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, it's going to be post-Watershed, so it'll have to be after 11 o'clock. But he's nicked all of my print pornography. He's taken out all the non-white models in it, basically.
I don't reckon. I reckon this is kind of we are up against. We could be competing against Mrs. Brown's boys. We're on.
You know what? This show could be called either Wokey Days or Mr. Brown's Boys. Because we're riding the coattails. Imagine that we get a Christmas special. Imagine that, a 1 hour Christmas special. And oh my God, we might actually make Jim Davidson relevant to the new generation. Just like Pepsi.
What about
racist Pepsi?
Also, have you signed an exclusivity deal with Channel 5? Because I think we open this up. We open this up to all the major terrestrial, major streaming channels.
Do you think Netflix will take it on? I mean, they've taken on they showed that The Closer by that American comic. What's his name? Because I'm bouncing. I can't remember names.
I mean, I think this is going to be bigger than Squid Game.
I mean, that's a tall ask.
I think this is. We're punching now. This is going to basically do to Squid Game what Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder in the ring.
Nice boxing reference. I like it. It's always bring it back to either boxing or football or pornography. Yeah.
AKA the Holy Trinity.
Hey, look, Hey, yeah, Jim comes in and goes, hey, my friend's coming over, Katie Hopkins. And she's like filming herself in the living room going out, oh, look at this house. Oh, have you got a visa to work here? Are you sure? Can I see your passport? Katie, you're not supposed to be eating the samosas. You're racist. You're blurring the boundaries. That's some keema if you want. Do you want some naan bread, Katie? I don't know where we can go there from this, because we just sort of peaked with we've done peak television already in 2021. We've not even made it yet. They're like, this will be next year's Ted Lasso. Everyone will be talking about it. See that Jim Davidson show? Yeah, it's Union Jack underwear. Then we could sell Union Jack merch
with
underwear.
your face on.
You know, Union Jack waistcoats like Nigel Farage. They love that shit.
Your face. I'm doing it now. Your face over Union Jack as the podcast cover.
Yeah, I mean, we have to bring heart into this, right? You have to bring sentimentality. So there'll be a bit where I've gone out to the shops because I'm crying, and my wife just like stormed out because she's pissed off with me.
Yeah.
And the kids are stuck at home. And Jim comes down and just starts feeding them, then talking to them. And he gives one, because they have to, like American network shows, they have to do that shit. So I slight digress, right? I've been watching Seinfeld, and there was one particular episode where there was this guy, and everyone said, oh, don't give him alcohol, he'll go crazy. So obviously Seinfeld accidentally gives him alcohol. For the whole episode, he's alcoholic and starts drinking like a complete bastard. And he's just like all over the place. The last shot when Jerry Seinfeld does his monologue to the audience and all that, the same alcoholic guy sitting in the audience with two ladies next to him, and he's drinking like a non-alcoholic drink. And there's a knowing wink from that guy. And Jerry Seinfeld pretty much just said, yeah, well, we're not all alcoholics. Such a fucking network ending where it's like, he's not really an alcoholic, or he's worked himself out fine. So we could use that for Jim Davidson to give him a bit of heart. Obviously, he'll storm out and go through the wrong door like he did with Ashley Banjo. No, Jim, no, it's the other door. That's a broom cupboard. But a slight digress. But Jim Davidson actually called Ashley Banjo George. And Ashley just goes, he just looked, he just shook his head and went, George?
He's George. Yeah.
I mean, Jim Davidson must have been under such pressure if he's just coming up with random names. Bob, Gary. Oh, bless. New lease of life for Jim Davidson is what we're doing. Oh God, I can't believe we're just ending a podcast, saving Jim Davidson's career and his life of like obscure racism.
Your woke mission now, right?
Oh God, Mission Impossible.
Your woke mission.
My brand Mission Impossible, yeah. This podcast will burn in 30 seconds. Sorry, carry on.
Your woke mission is so the mission of the woke Asian guy, that's you, is to. Can you not just put, because it's probably a bit shorter, can you not just put the Sidney Poitier speech from In the Heat of the Night? Do you know what my favourite line from that is? Right, go. What is it?
It's when Rod Steiger finds out that Sidney Poitier is the cop, and he brings in Warren Oates and shows him the badge. He goes, "He's a cop." Yeah. Those two lines, those two words are brilliant. We've got an idea. We've got a plan. We've got Jim Davidson. We just need to sign him to a 3-picture contract.
Yeah.
It's time to end the podcast. It's been a revelation, Egg White.
It's been.
From it's been to Jim Davidson, a has been.
Woke Asian guy.
And Egg White.